everybody, how are you? It's Fabi Paolini here, online brand strategy and business coach. And I actually wanted to come here today kind of quickly, kind of short and sweet, and talk about how you can't build a six-figure, seven-figure, multiple seven-figure business with a $6 brand. And I wanted to talk about this because I've been hearing a lot lately from certain coaches and businesses and people, this whole story of, oh, you don't need a brand. Oh, you don't need this. You don't need that. Really, all that you need is to have, I don't know, like a great offer to have available for people. And that's all that you ever need. You never need to do anything else because your brand does, your message does all the talking for you, and that's it, right? And it's funny to me because, you know, with what I do in my business, I do a little bit of both, right? So I help people with their messaging, with defining their offers, with their marketing, and I also help people with building their brands. And in my experience, you would have to be a darn really good marketer and have a pretty darn big budget in order to be able to build a very strong and successful business without any brand at all, or with like some cheap little thing you have done over the years and that's it, right? A lot of times people think that they're saving money and that they'll like, let me test and see if my business idea works, let me do this and let me do that, and kind of like almost be like dabbling in what they're doing instead of just going all in and saying, okay, you know what, I'm gonna make an investment and I'm gonna do whatever it takes for me to be able to build my business with success. What tends to happen is that when you approach your business like this, with that sort of attitude, what happens is that you're kind of just not really committing to your success. Like there's a lot of things behind it, right? And there's a lot of things that aren't right with it, right? On one hand, it's like you're kind of not committing all the way. You're like, well, let me give it a try. Let me kind of see what's going on here before I invest in my brand, before I do anything better. And so that's part of it. And that's kind of the energy that comes off from whatever you're doing. So obviously when people encounter you, when people find you, when people see what you're doing, they're going to be like, well, is this a legitimate company or not? Like, is this somebody that's legitimately building their business and doing the things that she says or he says that they're doing or not? In my experience, anytime that I have personally made an investment on anybody, for me, it's been about going out and making sure first that they're like somebody that I can trust. Now, there is different cases, right? Maybe there's people that you've been following for years, and yeah, I was actually talking about this with a client this morning. He was telling me he has a lot of followers on Instagram, and obviously because he has all these followers, like 100,000 or something like that, there's a lot of credibility that he's been able to build with these people over the years, right? But it has taken years for him to establish that authority and to build that trust. And what I was telling him is that if somebody comes to you first, like for the first time, has never heard of who you are, and they don't have anywhere to look for your information or look at your brand and say, wow, look at this person, look at what they're doing or whatever, it's gonna either be like a really long process for them to trust you, right? Because they have to get across your content for a long time before they can say, oh, okay, this is a legit person. Or you're gonna have to be like just really good at marketing. And even in that case, I would still argue that it's going to depend on what you're selling. Like if you're selling a $5,000 program, it really is very difficult for you to be able to sell that when your brand looks like a $6 brand, right? Or like a $5 brand or something that, you know, you hired somebody on Fiverr to do for like really cheap. It makes it really difficult. I'm not saying that you can't build a business like this, by the way. I want to make it clear. I'm not saying that you can't make money without a website, you can't make money without a brand. Obviously you can. Obviously there's a lot of people that have. But if you want to build a multiple six-figure business, if you want to build like success that is scalable and that can grow and can reach more people and make a big impact, you can't do it without a brand kind of like lifting you up and giving you that credibility that you deserve to have so that people can see you and say, okay, this is a legit person. This person's going to solve the problem that I have. I'm going to work with them. I'm going to do whatever it takes to work with this person or whatever, right? And I worked with, so okay, I have so many stories around this, but I worked with a coach. The first place that I invested in years ago was a program that was the $10,000 program, which to me at the time sounded like $1 million, right? And they were trying to get me to buy the program on the phone. And for me, it was really, really difficult because I had never invested that kind of money ever in my life. I'd never done an investment like this in, with what I was doing in my business. And I needed to check them out and make sure that I wasn't being scammed. Now it's funny because now I look back and I think, well, now I have like my risk taker. I'm a little bit more of a risk taker is my point, right? Where back then I was like, shoot, I need to check out these people and see what they're doing. The first thing that I did, I went to their website and I Googled them and I looked for everything that I possibly could before I invested in anything that these people were doing, because I wanted to make sure that it was a real company. Ironically enough, a few months later, I didn't do this and I invested in another business. And I don't know if they had a good website or online presence or not right now, because I never even researched, but I got kind of screwed over a little bit. But anyways, the first thing that I did was I researched that person. I would have never given somebody $10,000 if I wouldn't have been able to look at their brand and say, okay, this is a legit business. They're serious. I could see testimonials. I could see all these things, like something that gives me, just that trust that I needed, right? And maybe you're at a point where you don't have even testimonials yet, and that's okay, but you still need somewhere where people can go and say, okay, this is a legit business. Like, this is somebody that I can trust, right? And it's funny because that same company that I invested those $10,000 in, they always preach about like how you don't need a brand, you don't need a website, you don't need all these things. All you need is like this high-end funnel. But ironically, and I love these people, by the way, I'm not bashing them at all, but ironically, they have a beautiful brand. They have a beautiful, like, everything is really on brand and it's very professional. It looks very high end. And they spend like, I don't even know, like $200,000 a month on ads. So obviously when you have that sort of budget, you have the freedom to say, okay, you know what, whatever, like I don't need anything too professional looking or anything like that. But even in a case like that, they still do have it because they know the value of having a brand that shows respect and shows credibility and shows authority and gives people that feeling of, okay, I know what I'm getting. And it's not only through, okay, I looked at your website and that's it and it looks pretty and everything, but it's about building a complete, like a real experience with your audience, like with your clients specifically. For example, I think a few days ago, I shared a video where I showed like the whole process I go through when I work with my clients, and I showed you guys the back end of my business and everything. If you haven't seen it, make sure that you check it out. But like giving my clients that, of having this site where they have access to trainings and they have access to all of their videos and all of their files and all of their passwords and everything that we do together, it makes the whole experience even more high-end, because for them it's like, okay, I'm investing money, but not only am I getting, my brand, my message, my website, my funnels, my templates, all of this, but I'm also getting access to all of this really high-end information that even 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 years from now, they could still go back to it and watch the videos. Probably they're going to be a little bit updated by 10 years from now, but still, right? They can go back, watch the videos and see exactly what I'm talking about and see all these things again, and remind themselves of it or whatever. Like, they have access to that. So building that whole really positive client experience is going to do everything for you so that you can then go on and scale your business and scale your brand and scale whatever it is that you're doing to make a larger impact. So it's not that you can't make money without a brand, but if you're serious about making an impact and about having consistency and predictability in your business, which, hello, who isn't, right? Like, if you're really serious about it, then you really, really need to focus on creating a brand, like taking care of all of those details. It's not just about, oh, let me build out this beautiful, or not this beautiful, like this high impact funnel. I mean, look at every single person that you've seen out there that is successful, every single business, especially with Facebook ads and Instagram ads. Like, I see ads every single day and I click through websites. I never opt in, never, ever, like I swear. And I want you to think about this for yourself too. I never opt into something when it looks really, really crappy. When it looks like, wow, this was clearly done using Canva, using Play Script Display or whatever the name of that font is that everybody uses, like, it kind of loses credibility for me instantly when I see a brand that doesn't look the part. So there's a limit to how much growth you can have when you're building your business this way. So anyways, I just wanted to give you that today and impart a little bit of wisdom around it and invite you to invest in your own brand and have things that look the part, that make it, you know, pretty darn amazing so that you can make the impact that you're here to make. That's it.